Call the OCTAX committee to order. June 4th, 2019. Hello. Meeting started. How'd that work? That was good. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the April 23rd meeting. Kevin?
Yep.
Supervisor debate. Any comments, questions, corrections, deletions, additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Do we adjourn? Take a report from the county treasurer, Mike.
Good morning, everybody. After the discussion that we just had in tourism, I don't know if I want to even say what we're doing with occupancy. But we're up
your opinion.
from this time, from May 28th of 19 to May 28th of 18, we're up 8.79%, which is about $40,000.
Sounds good to me, Mike.
Questions?
Any questions, comments? No rotten fruit. Okay.
All right, just another quick thing. I know that there's been some talk and information going on around about enforcement, and I just want to, I can't talk about specifics, but I do want to say that since about this time, 18 months ago, you've given me an auditor, and I appreciate that. And as a result of that, we are now able to do quite a bit of enforcement, thank goodness to the participation of the county attorney's office and Mr. Dickey especially. There's some figures that have been out there. We will end up collecting quite a bit of money, probably in the half to three-quarters of $1 million, I'm estimating, from delinquent properties. And I just want to give you that information to say thank you for giving me that auditor, because that's a direct result of being able to do this.
Excellent. Gene? Or Kevin?
I have just one question. How are we doing with the collection from the Airbnbs?
Not doing anything yet because the agreements have not been given to me to start working with.
I know that we just passed a law in Warrensburg, and they're coming in buying our permits, and I think we're over 25 to 30 places already on short-term rentals. So, we're missing an opportunity to grab more oxy-tax funds.
We are.
Yes, we are.
We're doing very well in Lake George.
That message back so we can get that working.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you're waiting for an agreement from whom, Mike?
I see hands up.
Mike?
Questions for me or?
You. Yeah, no, wrong Mike. Mr. Swan. You're waiting for an agreement from who?
With the county attorney's office is working on agreements with the Airbnb and others, and I have not received them back yet. I don't know the status of them at this point.
At this time, the status is kind of stale. I know there's a lot of litigation going on in New York City regarding the Airbnbs and their unwillingness to essentially negotiate certain terms of the agreement with us. I do know that according to local law 5 of 2018, we can collect on any property with 4 beds or more that has overnight lodging. So that's something that we can look at enforcing regardless of if we do have an agreement or not.
We don't have an agreement in Lake George with Airbnb, but we've passed a law that if you are renting out 4 more rooms that you need to come in and get a permit. And that's what the contract we have with the organization is. They've gone around, they've generated a list of people that are renting their homes out.
All right, well, just to give you an idea, all the rooms agreement that we've got, the first initial blast of data they gave me shows 1,845 different properties, some active, some inactive, in Warren County. There's no way that I can keep track of 1,840 some properties, along with we have our hands full with the 250 that we're dealing with right now. That's why The only way that I can work with this is to get with Airbnb and Trip and whatever the others ones are, and work with them as an overview so that we have got something that's manageable.
More Ryan?
It's my understanding that Airbnb has a template contract that they want us to use, and they've sort of taken an all-or-nothing approach. We've got some issues that we don't want in the contract that we've sought to negotiate out of it, and haven't made a lot of progress. So I will meet with the county attorney, find out what those issues are, and see how we can move the ball forward.
Claudia, I believe you're next.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to see us move forward with that too, even, you know, if we can get something and have an agreement with Airbnb, it would be better to collect what we can rather than nothing. The other point that I want to make is our law says that it will, the occupancy tax applies to any short-term rentals. The exemption is only for housekeeping cottages less than 4 rooms.
4 units.
4 units, thank you. 4 units. So if you have a home with only 2 bedrooms, are we supposed to be collecting occupancy tax on that?
It's my understanding that we are not, that they fall within that exception at this time.
So anything less than 4 rooms?
4 units, correct.
Sorry, 4 rooms.
4 units.
Well, still, I think the sooner we can get something together with Airbnb, the better. It's been a long time to get.
Mike?
Mr. Chairman, thanks. Just a quick question. Are we keeping a separate budget code for collections versus regular OCTAX? Because I'd like to be able to make sure we're measuring apples to apples when we're at the end of the year and saying, you know, this is what we did OCTAX this year, and this is the additional we got from years past in the collections that we're going through. Are we keeping that separate?
No. No.
Can we do that?
I don't think so.
Is it keep a little running total?
You mean is by segment of the market or by the market altogether?
No, from what I understand, we get regular payments for OCTAX.
Correct.
What you're also doing with your auditing, you're going back years past to get some money from other people. That's the money I'd like to kind of keep track of and know separately what's happening.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that I think, yeah, we can work up something with that. Yes.
That's all it is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are you going back and, are you doing delinquent properties that haven't been paying, or are you
Yes.
doing new properties that we just recently discovered were renting their homes out?
2 different things.
Yeah, exactly.
We are in the middle of an enforcement program that we just started up within the last year to go after people who have not paid in the past.
Okay.
Hotels, motels, those type of things. The Airbnb type properties we are working on going forward.
Is that the 1,850 number you gave me?
Yeah, that is the rough data that the company that we've hired to go out and look for all of these, you know, short-term rentals. The initial list was 1,840 of them within Warren County. I have not had time to break that down. There was quite a few of them that were listed as active, some were listed as inactive, some were listed differently. So that's some of the questions that Joanne and I have to sit down and talk with these people about to find out exactly what they mean by that. But
Well, 400 and some of them are in Lake George. We've got a list. I don't know how many you have, Kevin, but...
Well, we're 25 plus already that have bought permits, so,
Yeah.
and they're buying them every day.
But now the law has to say, to tell Mike to go get the money.
well, the problem, we do have the law in place, but it's a matter of just practicality. I can't go out and look for 1,800 properties and add those to my list to work on. We're maxed out at 250 that we're dealing with right now. So the best way for us to proceed is to make an agreement with Airbnb and Trip and Home, whatever, all of the 4 or 5 major internet ones, and collect from them. Have them collect, and then we collect from them. That is the easiest and simplest and cleanest way to get it. Will we get them all? No, but we're going to get 95% of them.
Okay. Dave?
My son just bought the, Lake George, Hawaiian place. He's got an apartment up there, one apartment. They rent through real estate by the week. Doesn't count.
No.
Well, no, all you have 400 of them, how many is in one house? That's the only thing they have, that's the only thing they rent. And they don't count. So that 400 only, if they're not multiple, How many people have multiple
What-
places they rent? I don't know. I mean,
You asked two-
1,800, but how many are just
You asked two different,
houses here and there, they didn't have any collect from them anyway?
you asked two different questions there, Dave. If you own a home and you're renting it out, then you're in business. You need to get a business license.
Then you get a business license, right,
Right.
but you have to pay bed tax if it's just a single unit. That's my question.
Well, if you're renting your home out, if it's
If it's one, is it, I don't know, that's my question.
if it's your home and you're renting it out, you've got to get a license and pay the taxes.
A license, yes.
Yeah, and pay the taxes.
Does the law say that?
Well, does the occupancy
Yeah.
tax consider units like that?
Yeah, yes, that's what we're doing.
But it's less than 4 units.
It's less than 4
therefore-
units. You say you don't have to pay if it's less than 4 units, I ain't saying you do, but it's less
Question,
than-
all right.
Though, that's different than having a home and having 4 cottages in the yard that you're renting out.
You have
If
to
you're
look
living
at
in
the
the house and you're
definition.
renting the cottages, you fall under, you don't fall under any of the jurisdiction. Now, if you turn around and rent your house, it's a totally different story.
I don't know, I don't understand it. What?
You done, Mike?
I guess, are there any more questions for me?
I have a comment for
Go ahead, Frank.
Just, there's a tourism association that has a whole work stream on how to work with and develop a relationship with Airbnb. It's the New York State Tourism and Hospitality Association, NISHDA. That's a phone call for free. And they've seen counties do good things and they've seen them do bad things. I know they would be happy to chime in or
Did you write that down?
questions or...
I forwarded that information to the county attorney last fall.
Thank you.
Okay,
Anything else?
all right.
Thank you.
I want to take the North Creek Alliance first. Kevin, give us a rundown of where they
Yeah,
are.
they've asked for $12,500 a year for 3 years for their leases for their buses, and I feel it's worthwhile. The state has put a lot of money in, and is putting money into going out up there, and so I'll make a motion that we approve $12,500 a year for 3-year lease to go to the North Creek Business Alliance.
Second to that? John? I have a question. Are they getting 1 or 2, Kevin?
How many buses? One bus? One bus.
So are they keeping 1 of the 2 they have now and limping along with it, or?
We hope to replace one of the 2 we have now with a newer bus, but then financially down the road.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any further questions? Frank?
Dennis, just a question. If the county is using a tax, in this case occupancy tax, to fund a vehicle, does the county assume any liability for that? If there's an accident, for example?
No. You want to respond? I gave my legal opinion. You want to give
The
yours?
county, if occupancy tax is used to lease a vehicle, and that vehicle runs over kids standing in a school bus, does the county have any liability since the county is the one who actually provided the funds?
Well, normally when we give money, just like the state does, we do an MOA or some sort of agreement with them, which includes an indemnification clause. That indemnification clause says that if we're sued in any aspect, that they will, indemnify us, cover us with any legal expenses or that nature.
That's fine. I just wanted, it was a discussion in last month's meeting,
Mhm.
and that liability question was in my head. I didn't raise it. It's not to cause any trouble. It's just heard, they've been discussed, and we're clear, then it's fine.
Good question. Anybody else? Call a question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Still awake, Mayor? You do better than I do at this. You want to give us your spiel?
Just an effort to keep the county in the loop and keep our
conversation going which began at the last meeting. I don't have any good news for you. I've only got bad. Since the last meeting, we put the wastewater treatment plant project out to public bid. We opened the last bid the day before yesterday on plumbing, and the cost now of the estimated cost is up to $24.5 million. When I was here last time, the Chazen Company had estimated the plant cost to come in at $22 million. They blame it on the tariffs, cost of steel and lumber, and that's with only a 5% contingency. If we put in the normal 10% contingency, it would bring the plant well up over $25.5 million. So obviously we're shaking every bush we can. We had two very enlightening conference calls over the past 3 weeks with members from the governor's budget office, including a call on Sunday night. So I felt that was rather encouraging. And I'm pretty optimistic that within the next couple of weeks, hopefully, we'll be hearing something from the governor's budget office. In addition to that, we have filed an application through the North Country Alliance, which is a consortium of counties now, of which Warren County this year is eligible for the first time. Municipalities in Warren County. It's a group made up of Canadian and American people that sponsor and support projects that have to do with the economy in those various counties. And Senator Gillibrand and Elise Stefanik have made personal calls to the director, and that's a $500,000 grant where you're eligible to apply for 2 years. So that's a max of $1 million, and I'm optimistic that we may be successful with that. In addition to that, we're meeting with the town board this coming Monday. We have to make a decision. We have to accept those bids under the contract that we put them out by July 17th. And we need to be in the ground with the new wastewater treatment plant sometime in August to get it done, to comply with our consent order, which calls for completion in 2021. So updating some of the figures, it means that the amount of our annual debt now would be $566,666. The impact on the village tax rate is an increase of 39%. The impact on the Caldwell Sewer District is even greater than that. I don't have the figures, but I'm sure Dennis has. We were asked by the governor to prepare a sample of some of our impact that it would have in our community, and I actually name them by name. The Fort William Henry taxes will increase by $31,717. That's putting the debt service that we had last year, putting the debt service into last year's budget without any other changes whatsoever. And we did allocate in last year's budget to stay under the tax cap. We allocated $500,000 of unappropriated surplus, of which the village has $2 million. So with that we'd be actually broke in 4 years. So it's a major crisis for the taxpayers in Lake George. It's a very important project, I think, for all of Warren County and for all of this region in New York. There's no question. The $1 Million Beach opened last Memorial Day, and they closed 3 days later with bad counts. Now that has nothing to do with our wastewater treatment plant, but every time something like that happens in Lake George, it's bad news for everyone that's in the tourism business. They got a bad reading the third day after they opened, and they got a good reading yesterday and reopened the beach. So it's critical that we do everything we can, and I know the folks in Warren County feel the same way I do, and I thank you for allowing me to come and give you an update on our project. Any questions?
We thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
We'll see you Monday night. Okay, Ed Moore and Liz Mahoney. I saw Liz. Yeah, Liz. Okay,
We have a few different people here today.
you're it.
Hi, everyone. Let me know if you can't hear me. Ed is not here today. He was actually having a procedure done, and he apologizes for his absence. We submitted an application not too long ago, and so different from usually coming and updating you on our events, which we'll do in a minute, we're here today for another reason. So for those of you that don't know me, I think most of you do, but there are some new faces. I'm Elizabeth Mahoney. I'm a Adirondack Civic Center Coalition board member. I'm here with fellow board members Claude Loisel and Dan Burke, and Judge Krogman is here from our hockey board, and Jeff Mead. Just to take 1 second to do a quick synopsis of how we work and how we run. The coalition, as you know, is a 17-member board, and it runs the arena. It oversees the operation of that. When we took over, this is our 5th year, and when we took over 4.5 years ago, it was our understanding that the city was losing hundreds of thousands of dollars by operating the arena. So we removed that very quickly, deficit, from the city rolls when we took over, in addition to making annual lease payments. We're happy to report, and as everyone saw in the paper, that we made our final lease payment last year. We were able to do that. So we had this big list of things to check off, purchase prices and items that needed taken care of, old contracts from the city. We checked those off little by little. We really spent the first 4.5 years focusing on operating and making sure that we could stay open, keep the doors open. We also were able to complete the grant funding that we did for some improvements. We received grants over the years, and we had to pay interest and contribute to those grants. So we were able to finish all of those payments off last year as well. As you all also know, in the second year of our management or lease of the arena, Calgary came to us. They were our anchor tenant, and they said we lost $1 million a year here, and so we've got to do something. We can't continue the operations as they are, so either we take over running the arena, or would you have an interest in purchasing the team? Obviously, we didn't have an interest in Calgary or any outsider stepping in at that point. We wanted to make sure that we could continue to be viable on our own terms. So even though many teams in the league, most in fact, lose money on running an ECHL hockey team, we did our homework and we gathered support and we purchased the team, an interest in the league, I should say, from Calgary. The first year of that ownership, we made $1,600. So we took it from them, we turned it around, and we were pleased, very pleased with that number. Obviously, the community spoke, attendance was up, and in year 2 now, we're expected to make more than that, a little bit more, but we're seeing that tickets are up, and such, because of that, sponsorships. Businesses are vying for sponsorships and advertising in our arena, and that's all a testament to the community wanting this place and loving the fact that it's down there and using it. So in the first few years here, we focused on operational needs, both in the arena and in hockey, and now we're in year 5, and we had some, because we were able to pay off Calgary and get that final payment done last year, the league also requires, as a condition of operating a team, of producing 2 letters of credit to the collective amount of $425,000. We generated $300,000 of that in cash to put towards it. Individuals on the board stepped up and made personal pledges and notes and such, so we're 100 and so shy of completing those cash letters of credit. But other than that, we've made substantial strides in the last years of checking these big ticket operational items off of our list. And so here we are, we had some time and we had some breathing room and the ability to say, okay, what now? And what now is that the arena needs our attention. And it has needed our attention all along, but we had to prioritize. And so we compiled a list, and I heard in the last meetings and this meeting the importance of doing your homework and data. We made a list of arena needs. And it wasn't just our list. It wasn't just our makeup. It was engineers and contractors and licensed people that came in and said these things need some attention. And we prioritized those. And Jeff's going to pass around that list. And it shows immediate needs, 2 to 5 year needs, and then bigger, wishes later on. So of that list, as you'll see, is that all out yet? I just want everybody to take a look, and I want to just explain a little bit for just a minute of how we came up with these things. And we were fortunate enough in these years to not have any major catastrophic structural mechanical issue other than the parapet when we first started there, which was 2 seconds into our lease and concerning. Other than that, we've been able to patch things along over these years, despite the fact that most of our mechanical and structural issues in the arena are long past their useful life. So in the first section of this report, the immediate needs you'll see of about 500,000, 492, of which we're tackling, I don't know if you can see the highlight, but of which we're tackling about 60,000 of that. So you know we're a not-for-profit, you know that we don't make a whole lot of money, but anything that we have left over and any sort of money we can allocate from our maintenance fund in our budget, we're putting back into the arena. And we're doing that in a systematic way such that things that need priority get attention first. Things that break down off the bat have to be taken care of. So the 60,000 here, the highlight shows what we're planning for this year, what we're up against, I should say. If you take that out, we show current needs of about another 435,000. Then we go down to two-year concerns, I say 2 to 5, things that we think may die out or need replacement or repair in that time frame, to the tune of almost another 375,000. And then the 5-year long-term capital projects, Heritage Hall, for example, $2 million. I mean, that would be a wonderful thing. That's something that we're looking for grants for. That would be a big rehab for the arena and an income generator for sure. That's a wish list item. That's something that hopefully one day we can get. So here we are. This is our list. And taking that together, and why we're here, we're looking into the next 5 years. We're taking these in 5-year blocks. We've come so far in this last time, and now we're at the point where we want to give some attention to our arena. And we know we can't do it alone. And we know that we don't want any municipality to have to do it alone. And we know that we don't want any private entity to come over and take it over. Any municipality, most arenas actually are funded using municipalities. Times Union is a city-owned building. The Manchester team that just folded, I want to just say a brief word about them in a minute, they were owned by the city. That's not ideal for taxpayers and the loss that could come from the city or a town or county owning the building outright. And we don't want to privatize it. We don't want somebody to come in and take it over. They don't have the track record that we do. We're a not-for-profit. We have a care and attention to this that we believe would surpass somebody coming in and purchasing it on their own. So we're looking for a collaboration. And we said, how could we do that without, overburdening any one set? If you look at the paper and it says we need about $1.5 million over the next 5 years, we thought, okay, if the city of Glens Falls could chip in 50,000, and the county could chip in 100,000 towards these capital improvements, and the town maybe could chip in 50,000, that over next 5 years, that would give us about, plus us at 50,000, that would give us about $1.25 million. And we know we'd have to come up with a difference, not only our 50 a year, which we can scrape and get and use every last dime of profit to do so, but we're still short another 250, and that would probably be on us. What else could we do? But we're looking for a collaboration, and we're looking for assistance from everybody. We've gone to the city, and they emphatically said, yes, we want to support. We know what you've done, and we love this building, and you've, generated support for us, so far greater than what you're asking in return. The other thing Jeff handed out was an economic impact statement, and I know that we circulated that in the past, but it's important to show again and remind us of the economic impact of the arena. We had this study prepared. We paid for this study, which we did in the past. Importantly, and I won't bog you down, but the summary sheet is a nice one, $940,000 in annual tax revenues, which has gone up $100,000 each year since we started. $9.2 million of annual spending based on visitors coming to the arena. So, and those are just 208,000 annual attendees and 155 jobs, which again has gone up each year since we started. It's important to know those numbers because you'll ask, what's the return on investment? What's our rationale for considering a contribution? And the answer is, we're all gaining so much more than is being asked. And so, two last quick points. You may have heard that the Manchester hockey team recently folded, the Manchester Monarchs. They were a big rival of ours. They were in our division in the league. I was on the call last week where the membership was terminated for the team, and in closing of that conversation, the team and the owner were asked, well, what happened? Manchester was a huge hockey town historically, big, huge fan base. What happened? And the owner's answer was, we didn't call upon our community and our municipalities and our fans when we needed them. They were losing millions of dollars, and they never reached out, and they never formed a collaboration or asked at all. That's a problem, and we're not on that track. We have made huge strides. We're looked at in the league as a real success story. But for Manchester, it's a loss of jobs. The fans are disappointed. It's a devastating effect on their area, and it's something that I can't even imagine if we were in that situation what that would do for us. So just in closing, and Jeff's going to talk about events and things that we have going on here. I just wanted to mention that we all live here. I grew up here. I'm from here. This is a very different place than when I was here in young years. We love it. We live here. We all come together, and every single person here, every single one of us is enjoying not only the arena itself, but the way of life, the quality of life in this area that this is a big part of. And so I thank you for your time. I'm hopeful you'll consider our request. I'm pleased that the city was so quick to jump on board. I'm happy to take any questions that anyone has. I think we've already submitted an application, and that's why we came to this meeting, if that's the appropriate spot to be in. I think it went directly to the tax committee, if it was circulated or not. I'm not
Right.
sure, but we have it for you if you need it.
No?
Application. No.
Did you?
Wasn't it an application, it was what Ryan, you're asking to do for capital improvements?
Oh, I see. Okay,
request.
okay, so it's
A
in the
request.
database.
But it wasn't a specific number.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, not a formal application, but a written request.
We get the point, though. Liz, I can see why Ed didn't come. You did a yeoman's job there, soft selling and foot shuffling. I have one question for you. I'm assuming that you're still counting on the $250 a year that we're...
Yes, That's correct. That's
Okay.
operational in our minds, and this is a
Okay.
capital improvement fund specifically for items on our list that we've outlined here, but will be ever changing as we go. With the city, just so you know, we've indicated we'll come to you on whatever basis, regular basis you want, to talk about what we're doing, and if they want input and updating our list, they said fine. We'd be happy to do obviously the same. I think we are pretty good about reports to you, and
You've been very good. We're not concerned about that, Liz. Kevin?
Yeah, if Alice Cooper doesn't bring the snake, I'll go.
If that's all we need, done.
What about the bats and the birds and the... Anybody else? John?
Liz,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I must have missed it. What specifically is the request?
So the request is, it's a 5-year plan, and I apologize. It's a 5-year plan. We were thinking $250 a year from everybody. So we said 50 from the city, 50 from the civic center, 100 from the county, 50 from the town. What am I missing? I think that's it. And then if you look at our list, not including Heritage Hall issues, that would bring us to still about 250 less than what we need, but we would be dealing with that on our own as well. So our 50 is a little bit low, to be honest. So from the county, it'd be 100 a year for 5 years. We're looking at a new 5-year plan.
And 50 a year from...
Queensbury, I'm sorry.
Queensbury.
I'm sorry, town of Queensbury.
That was his question, I can tell.
Well, no, did we get that in a request format yet?
I think we're going little by little, and I think Ed came to talk to some of you, maybe not you, but somebody at some point. We just finished with the city. We're here today on this one, and then we're doing that part next, if it hasn't already been started.
Kevin?
Are you still applying for consolidated funding grants?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, that's a big part of this.
Is any of that money that you got left over, or is that already been spent?
We've spent all that we received. We have a $100,000 grant left that's coming that keeps getting allocated for new things because it's not coming, so we have to do things ourselves. But other than that, we don't have anything pending. We have things in the works.
Claudia?
I said this before and I'll say it again, I think the Civic Center is a great asset to the region, not just for the city of Glens Falls, and they're coming to us with a solid plan. They've already provided their economic impact analysis, which show us a lot of data about their return on this investment. So I will support this request. I'd like
Okay.
to know how we can make it work.
That I don't have for you yet. Ben?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. About 12 years ago, Mayor Jack, when I served on the city council, appointed me to be the contract administrator at the Glens Falls Civic Center. And it's a fancy title for essentially being the liaison between the city of Glens Falls and the professional management company that we employ to run the center. I did that for 8 or 9 years, and then went off. But really, the renaissance that has taken place with the coalition, I mean, is top notch, and to be replicated elsewhere. I'm not going to vote on it because my son derives a paycheck from the arena, but I fully support and would encourage other supervisors to, if we can find the money, to certainly support this initiative.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's the issue. A couple of you mentioned it. It's not a question of wanting to do it, it's a question of deciding how we're going to be able to do that. So we'll need to look at that, and we'll certainly get back to you in a timely manner, Liz, and let you know.
Thank you. Anything else?
Anybody?
Jeff, you want to do a quick event update?
That's what you're doing?
Yep.
2
Thank you,
seconds?
Liz.
Thank
Yep.
you very much.
good morning or afternoon.
You have
Yeah,
free
we're- Pardon me?
Alice Cooper tickets, do you?
It'll be on sale Friday at 10 if you'd like them, Dennis. We had 42 events in quarter one. We were here a few months ago to talk about that. 19 events quarter two, highlighted by 4 Thunder games, including 2 playoff games. Unfortunately, we only played 2 this year. A gun show in April, a pool and spa show in early May, which is very successful. SUNY Adirondacks graduation is always in May. It's always a good turnout. We did a cool spring show this year with the Post Star and Regional Radio Group. I'll be honest, it wasn't our best show we've ever put on, but it did happen. The Civic Center has a foundation. We did our annual bike ride, which almost doubled what last year was, so that was a great day. Upcoming, BOCES graduation June 21, Travis Tritt and Charlie Daniels Band June 23rd. South Glens Falls and Queensbury graduations are at the end of June. July 8th is WWE. It's coming back to Glens Falls. We're excited about that. We announced last week 311 will be in Glens Falls July 16th. Godsmack July 21. A couple hockey events in August, including the Aurora Games, which should be a pretty cool event for us. Bill Engvall, a comedian, September 13th. Another gun show. They seem to be popular in early October. The Thunder will kick off preseason October 6th in Glens Falls. We'll announce that formally soon. Ghost October 26th. Rodeo November 1 and 2 again. Apparently you all seen our announcement yesterday. Alice Cooper November 21, which hopefully will be a pretty cool show. New York State Girls Volleyball Championships November 22, 23, and 24. We've got 2 other concert bids in. We're pretty confident we'll get at least one, which should be a really good show for us in December in the country world. And we're waiting for an answer on a family show for October as well. So certainly it's been a very busy first 5 months of 2019. And since I've been there, certainly the busiest activity we've had at the arena. So that's exciting, and it should be a good summer and hopefully a good fall and winter.
That's excellent, Jeff. Anybody got any questions for Jeff? Mayor?
Just add my voice to the support for the Civic Center. Glens Falls is Warren County City. And if you think back how we've accomplished so much in this county, it's all been done with collaboration. If you think back to the festival space with the county, the town, the village, you think back to the mandatory vote inspection program, 7 towns got together to pull that major thing off. And Glens Falls is our city. And what happens in Glens Falls happens throughout the whole county. And if they came to Lake George Village and asked me for some money, I'd probably try to find it too.
Don't give them any ideas. You know.
I just gave you an idea.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. We appreciate that. Doug?
Yeah, I think it's such a valuable asset to the county, and I think most of us at now office agree. And the work that's been done since this coalition got together is pretty astounding. We took basically a dying arena that was bleeding money and flipped it around in a short time frame. 4 or 5 years is short in business, as you guys know. So I know I get some people go, Doug, you're not going to pour more money into that Civic Center, are you? And I said, there's such a driver economically for this county. Yeah, I'm gonna. So I lose a few votes and this and that, and that's how life goes. But I'll be fully supportive of this, and I hope this committee will find the money, which, knock on wood, we seem to be doing better with the occupancy tax. And once we get an agreement with B&B, we'll start getting additional occupancy tax money. I think from a financial standpoint, we'll be in a good position to support it, but that's where I'm looking at today.
Okay, thank you. Gene?
Yeah, I have to chime in with Doug. I think you guys did a great job. The tour we had last month was just phenomenal, and things that are going on over there, so I fully support that.
Thank you. Great. Anybody else? Diamond Jack?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to add to Mr. Beatty's comments. He called it a dying arena. From my perspective, we looked at a closed arena. They can step forward and help the city out, because the city just couldn't afford it anymore. There wasn't time, it would have been closed, it was done. So thank you very much for your input. The coalition is done for the city of Glens Falls, and you, by taking over the arena, you made, as Mayor Blaze commented, our Warren County better place. So,
Absolutely.
when it comes to the full board, I support your request, yeah. That's it. Thank you.
Kevin?
Yeah, to me, it's all about the events, and you keep bringing events in, and that's the most important thing. Bring them in, and then...
Thank you.
Anything else?
No snake. Okay. Jeffrey, thank you.
Thank you. I do have one other event I forgot to mention. We're doing our first annual Adirondack Thunder Hockey School, and it sold out within almost 30 days. That was after we had to add a second session, so we have a waiting list, and so it should be pretty cool to help build our brand. And Claude will be out there on the ice with helping out our youth of Glens Falls, so our former NHLer. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Okay. We have two applications before us. The first one is Primetime Lacrosse. Dave must have a 12 o'clock tea time. Basically what they're doing is they're bringing in a lacrosse event. Involves several hundred participating members and their family and friends. It is in Washington County at the Golden Goal. And if you're familiar with Washington County, there's no place over there to stay other than your car. So hopefully they're all going to stay here in Warren County in the events. In Washington County, I think it's a great opportunity to spread our good findings with our neighboring county. I think this is a great event, has a lot of potential. Kristen, would you like to say a couple words?
I just wanted to add a few other things to information from in the third year of this year. They have currently 122 teams registered to come to this event. They're actually looking for 4 more fields, so actually adding this year. I just got a call from yesterday, so we'll actually look for 4 more fields in and around the area.
Great.
July 13th and 14th, and currently right now they have approximately 795 allocated for this event over those 2 days.
How many days does it go?
Sorry?
How many days is it?
2 days.
2 day event. Okay. Anybody have any questions on the board? How much were they asking for?
And then we'll like to be a repeating event for the third year. And then we'll do
Thank you, Kristen. What are they asking for? 30? John?
Yeah, well, Primetime also has a request in for the town for, I think, close to the same amount. We, we have about $300,000 in requests, and we've got about $150,000 in ag-tax.
That's about right.
An event like this, which is regional, should probably be handled by the county as opposed to the town.
So are they asking you for money as well, or are they hedging their bets?
I do not know the answer. I just know that if we're going to support them, I'd rather support them on a regional basis than Queensbury, because Queensbury gives about $90,000 already to the city of Glens Falls for their museums and cultural events. And so you only have X amount of dollars.
Right.
So, if you pull from one to give to another, someone's going to hurt.
Right.
But
Point taken.
I think that this is a regional event, should be supported by the county, and we should probably take it off our request list.
Okay. Ben?
Not knowing the situation, I would guess that they submitted 2 applications with the hope that they get one. My family's been involved in numerous events over at the Golden Goal over the year, and they bring in people from all over the place. I think there's 6 or 7 states plus Canada signed up for this particular tournament. People have a lot of time, lag time in between games, and they're out there. So, you know, I would support it.
Okay.
I do want to make one comment that we still have $54,000 left in a code that we had budgeted, anticipating more occupancy tax would come in 2018, and we would have to pay 25% over that to the town. So we don't have to go to the reserve as long as the request doesn't go over 54,000 for the 82 applications.
Excellent. Any further questions? Somebody want to make a motion? I'm sorry, Laura?
Just as a comment from one of the hotels in the area on this particular event, I would ask, and you submit a summary based on what my thoughts were on it. This is me personally. I agree it's great to have them come in. I do have a couple concerns about providing them with a large sum of OCTAX money. It's their third year an event, so I thought OCTAX was supposed to help go towards new events. They're going to help grow the area. They're already in their third event year, so apparently they are growing or successful here. They've already received from every hotel that they sell a rebate. We're required to provide it. So we've raised rates in order to cover that rebate, which they then get OCTAX on top of. So to me, it's a little bit of a double dipping scenario. Thirdly, they're coming at a weekend that's already a high demand for hotel rooms, and they're having trouble getting hotel rooms because that's already our peak season. So from that perspective, I'd love to see them try to do something in June. Maybe there are two weekends right now, and obviously this year is set. The room's already booked. The tournament's coming. Could they do something in June? We have 2 weekends in June now that are going to be very soft for various reasons. I would just be hesitant to provide a large amount of money to an event like this that already has funding streams from other areas that are coming on a high event date, that, for all those reasons I just suggested, and set the example that, oh great, we've already been established here, now we're going to go and try to get them to give us money because we're afraid that we'll leave if they don't. Just a business owner's perspective on how we're spending our money and what is the return for that money.
Thank you, Laura.
One note also, out of that 54,000, we have spent 12,500 for the
Party?
for the shuttle bus.
That's 3 years, right?
3 years, yeah.
Right.
Ben?
My question was, how much did they receive the first 2 years?
Nothing.
We haven't.
They haven't. So this is
Yeah.
it's the third year, but the first year that they've come to us.
Correct.
Okay.
And it has been growing. Kristen, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I agree with Laura, though, actually. I mean, I don't know, I haven't seen the application, so I don't know the full amount they're requesting, but I do agree with Laura's comment. That they are getting a rebate. They're getting some money back. So whatever the request is, I would take that into consideration with the fact that the hotels are providing a rebate, which is coming back to help support the event.
Good.
They have the revenue there. So some support would potentially be a good thing, but they are getting some money already.
In exchange for date placement.
Correct.
Good point.
But that was part of my question is, it sounds like the hotels are going to be filled that week. Would you guys be filled with this if you didn't have that 800 or actually probably 400 because it's 2 nights? So would you guys be filled without that? I don't know that answer. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Yeah.
My guess is we would be sold out.
Have we been sold out
Yes.
before that? Okay, so to
Well-
me then, we're basically turning away some business or putting them into a different avenue.
It's forcing rates higher that weekend for people who are willing to come that weekend to pay a higher rate if there's more demand that particular
Yep,
weekend.
okay. And then the second part of my question would be, what, if we do fund it, we fund it, but could we bring them in, and I think you make a valid point, to have a discussion with the ownership or the group of moving that date? Because to me, we're just, you guys are, that's a peak week, so I'd like to have, I'd probably be supportive of this one year on the premise that they came in and we had a serious and frank discussion about dates going forward, that would be my recommendation.
Well, that was my thought, exactly, Doug. The other point is that we not give them the full 30, give them some portion of it, and suggest if they move to a more needy weekend that we'd consider more.
Well, or could they extend it to be a four-night event? They're saying they want to grow. Could they come and do some dates that would help on Wednesday or Thursday night and not just a peak Friday, Saturday?
I have a feeling that these high school age kids, yeah, I think you're going to have a problem with schools and,
Not in July.
well, you got a slow week in July, that first weekend in July?
Well, the first 2 weeks in July, midweek are soft weeks in the region.
So why don't we shift them back there?
Okay.
That's the discussion we have to have with them, so I think,
That would be one of those data points to watch too. What's the heat map of where occupancy is going relative to heat? So if it's, after Americade it's quiet, after July 4th it's quiet, that should be starting, that's where you'd invest money. Let's get people in those weeks.
Gina?
Another compression for our market is really what's happening in Saratoga as well, because, I mean, they've got a series of Dave Matthews, 2 nights in a row that weekend. I mean, the opera on Sunday, but Luke Ryan and then 2 nights of Dave Matthews, as well as, the early start date of Racing for Us. So that's also adding to our, people willing to pay more for our rooms versus this event. So just always keeping that in mind, how what else is happening around does impact our business.
I would suggest we pick a number we'd like to offer, and with that, have them come in and discuss moving this to an alternative date for next year. Frank?
Back of mind thing, these events, sports events are weatherproof events. They're coming. If it snows in July, they're showing up. So these are really good ones to go get. They're not going to be worrying about a little bit of rain.
It's a good thing. Lightning, Ben?
I was going to suggest maybe 20,000 rather than the 30, and then meet with them, and then, if they can.
Is that your motion?
Schedule for, motion.
Somebody want to second that? Edna? Mary, you got something you want?
He applied to our joint committee last year, if you recall.
Right.
And he attended by a conference call from Paris. And this year he didn't appear. He applied for $10,000 from our joint committee, and we did not give him anything.
Right.
So then, because he didn't make an appearance. And then he called, and I suggested that he would try the county as the last resort, because all of our funds are going. And I think that's probably how he ended up here too with an application. He said he needed some money.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. How much is the Hyde collection? How much is the Hyde collection?
25.
2,500?
25,000.
21,500, they want 25.
How are they doing?
And they're looking for marketing dollars.
All right, we have a application for 25,000 for the Hyde. They've asked for 25,000. They want to do some marketing. We have 22 left. You supported the Hyde, right, John? Queensbury?
Yeah, Queensbury supports the Hyde.
How much did you support them?
10 or 15.
Okay. It's on the table. Income? Net income?
Is this a specific,
Lisa said they want to do some promotions. Promotions.
So it's not a
we do.
specific event.
Every
It's something-
year.
It's just adding to
This year,
Yep.
same thing.
Okay.
We always give it. Shouldn't say that.
To us, it's a pleasure of the board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I would think 10,000 would be a nice gesture. Show some support for the Hyde.
I'll make that a motion.
No, I was just suggesting that. Do you want to make that a motion?
Yeah, I can
I
support
need
the
a
Hyde
second.
for 10, and, you know, this is for the overall promotion of the museum,
Yeah,
cultural.
it's all of that. Gene, you want to second that?
Yes, sir.
Laura, did you have
I
something you
just
wanted
have
to?
an ask related to some of the conversation we heard earlier. I support the Hyde, I send guests there regularly. My question would be, if we give the Hyde 10,000 X dollars, will it be with a stipulation that next year they come back and say, here's how we spent your money and here's how it improved and had a direct impact?
Good point. You want to add that to your motion?
Yeah, we're supposed to do that anyway, so.
Yeah.
But will they actually come?
Yeah, well.
No, they will.
Well, in which case, should they be eligible
It
again?
looks like they have a new.
Or any group, any group.
Yeah, they look like they have a new director.
Okay.
A new person.
Amy?
I just wanted to tell a little bit about the Hyde. There is a new director, his name's Norman Dasher, and they actually are really retooling the way they present their product. They're opening 7 days a week. They're actually trying to work out transportation between Lake George and Glens Falls using the trolley, having a specific day that you could come and have a round trip on the trolley to visit the Hyde. We're talking to Greater Glens Falls Transit. So I really think they are trying to really brush off that image maybe of so many years and open the doors and really get out there to market. They did a hospitality day in May. They invited lots of different groups to come in, workers and people that were, dealt with the visitors in the region. And I took a tour that I have not been in the Hyde a long time, and it's amazing the works that we do have in that wonderful collection. And they continue to build that collection, and I think, it's a wonderful place.
Went through with my grandson about a year ago. It's unbelievable, the stuff they got in there. John?
I too appreciate the Hyde, and I know that their whole new approach is a lot more aggressive than they have been in the past, and that, planning more new shows is what brings in new people, and they're 2 years out in that planning process, because if you're going to borrow art from other museums, there's a long, involved process with it, and it's expensive. The artwork has to be insured, taking care of the place and everything else, and to do additional marking, I think would help us all. I think 10 is maybe a little lower than I would have suggested, but I'm just one vote. I would maybe say 15.
I'm sticking with 10 right now. But you can check.
Because they are trying very hard.
Okay. Ben?
Thank you. I was working at the Hyde a number of years ago when the very popular Degas exhibit came to town. I was just blown away by the number of individuals who witnessed that, and they, getting back to our earlier conversation, they've always done a very good job in tracking where their people are coming from. They've also really made an effort over the last, I would say, 10 years to make the museum more mainstream. And you don't need to be necessarily an art patron or an artsy type of individual to really enjoy the museum. I think that's the type of marketing plan that they're interested in doing. Opening up their doors to I guess, regular people, people who appreciate art, but, don't live and breathe it. So I would support the 10,000 that's on the table and continue to work with them, and I'm certain that they will demonstrate how they used any type of support that we can give them. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? Gina?
Yeah, just to reiterate some things that Amy had mentioned, they did do the hospitality day, and that was really geared toward frontline workers throughout all of our hospitality community. And the other thing with regard to the Hyde, if you noticed the last 2 years, when Ann Sale came in as the interim director, they really opened their doors to collaborate, whether it's with our schools or other programming that involves more of our community aspects to get our community in there, going back to your point about, not being so exclusive versus more inclusive. And Norm Dasher as a new director, I've seen him now all around the county where we never really have seen anybody before. So I'm surprised that he is not here today, maybe not knowing that he should have been here to present with regard to that. And I know that we're trying to do more to drive any visitors that are in, the bulk of our visitors do come to Lake George and then go outward to downtown Glens Falls to make that collaborative effort so I just know that they're a big piece that's driving that traffic to downtown Glens Falls.
Good, thank you, Gina.
Dennis, I'd like to amend my motion to 15,000.
Gene, good with that?
And I will second that too, because just what Gina, I met the gentleman, he came to town of Lake Luzerne, sat with me for
Really?
an hour.
Slumming it.
I was really thrilled with what he said. I tried to get him on the last county board meeting, but they were filled, so he's going to be at our next board meeting
Oh, excellent.
next week or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, great.
And I think if they get their information out to Lake George more, that maybe people will go down there on day trips when it's raining or something else, so.
Yeah, it's
That's
good.
why I amended it,
Good.
and I listened to Supervisor Stroud.
There you go. Across the aisle. Okay. Got a new proposal, it's at 15,000. Call to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Anybody from the peanut gallery? Jess, you have anything you want to say? You've been awful quiet. Yeah, you.
Oh. I was wondering if you'd get to me. No, I just learned a lot by sitting here, so thank you.
Well, great. Thanks for coming. Anybody else? Christina?
One thing,
Kristen?
I'll mention that next week, actually, starting this week, on Thursday, we have the Adventure Travel Trade Association folks coming in. We hear immediate some come in on Thursday for our food bans. We'll be here through the weekend. Then the rest of the delegates will start coming in on Sunday and Monday. We have approximately 273 delegates that are registered from all over the U.S. as well as the world. So we'll be here about 3 to 5 days, and we'll be going really regular actually. First day of adventure, we'll be heading up to Garden Hill Lodge, doing some mountain biking and hiking, rail biking, hiking up at North Creek Resort, Adirondack Extreme up to Bolton, kayaking up to 13th Lake, trail riding, cattle drive at Stony Creek, horse bathing over at Shelving Rock. Some of the activities that we'll be having them do, spreading them around the area, getting a really good view of what we have to offer in terms of our assets. So these are tour operators, prospective tour operators, travel writers. Summer session kicks off officially on Tuesday of next week, the 11th. And the first one, Occupancy and supervisors have all sent out invitations yesterday. If you did not get one, please let me know. For our closing event, which will be on the night of the 12th, please let me know if you got one of those who are going to join us and the delegates that evening.
Don't forget the Eagle ride in Lake George. Anybody else?
The only thing we're doing actually is we've also sent out some information. We have restaurant week next week. So the delegates will have 2 evenings where they will be free to go and explore around the area, go dine around the area. So we'll be getting all that information as well.
Great. Thank you, Kristen. Make it short, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, last meeting that we had with occupancy tax, I had a request, and I believe concerned that we're going to be able to discuss the presentation I put together, not on the agenda this month. Is there any time where you can proceed with this might be on your agenda?
We will take care of that oversight. You did ask, and I did say you would be on it. I was surprised you weren't on it. That was because I forgot to tell Lisa. So, you're duly warned. Mike wants to be on, you better give him some time. I think he can wait for the closing. What?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second by John, all in favor? Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, you're welcome.